Right, so we're down here in Carrickmore, and we're with the lovely Darren Nugent.
Thanks very much for having me.
No worries. He's our first official guest.
Very privileged, very privileged. Thanks for coming to Carrickmore, such a lovely warm summer's day.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. We're seeing I heard of ION for his rum, but turns out he's got more than rum. Much more than rum. And I got in contact with his good self, and he said, "Sure, come on down, and we'll get you a wee taste." And I was like, "Well, you're a very generous man." So I just want to start off so what is poker? It's poker tree. I thought he said poke a tree. No, it's not. It's poker tree. So
Poker Tree, we founded Poker Tree in 2014. Originally it was a brewery, so we had a range of different beers. We had always planned to do spirits on the side. We'd always sort of fancied doing a bit of whiskey. And as we started to experiment with the spirits, we just decided to just jump all in and go with the spirits. Now we still have the beer, we can still make the beer, but we've just been concentrating on spirits, and we've got a full range and more on the way. So that spirits then is ION. ION is the Irish word for pure. It's spelled ION but pronounced ION. It's all about absolutely. As you see behind us here, so it's all about just really good quality ingredients, traditional styles of spirits. So purity in terms of what the spirits were supposed to be. You'll not see us putting in fancy sort of syrups and flavourings and that type of thing. It's making a spirit how the spirit was traditionally supposed to be made. And that's been difficult because we've actually had to produce 3 different stills. So we have a dedicated still for each of our products. So they're made in different ways, which makes it really complicated, but we think makes a much better product.
It is. And unfortunately, the powers that be at Power NI have shut us down.
Shut us down. The man has tried to.
The man has spoken.
Tried to put us out of business.
But the show must go on. We're going to he's going to give us a wee tour, but unfortunately, there's just not enough light. So it's a wee bit of a blow, but still, we've got the lovely stuff here. It looks like you're going to make a wee cocktails.
Let's just start as mean to go on by talking about them and tasting them and trying them.
Right. So we'll start with the one that made it all happen.
Absolutely.
The rum.
Well, to my knowledge, it's definitely the first one that's made in the north. I think there's a few distilleries playing around with it in the south. I think Black's make another one, but really rum is a very unique thing in terms of there's not many people making it. Over here. We start with molasses, so it's 100% made with sugarcane molasses, which is sort of like treacle. Really thick, viscous, horrible, sticky but beautiful stuff when it's finished, but really, really hard to work with. So it's 68% sugar, and we have to then water that down. We have to ferment it for like 10 to 12 days. We actually use some of the old fermentations in there, which is a bit like a sour mash whiskey. So that sours it down and gives it a little bit of less sweetness, basically gives it a little bit of tang. So we then distill it in this bad boy up here. This is called Hemingway. You know, Ernest Hemingway was a big rum man. And as you can see, it's got a copper head on it. Inside the copper head, there's a series of individual channels. They're all copper as well, which makes it really, really difficult for the spirit to actually come through in one pass. It keeps getting knocked back down. So that every time it gets knocked back down, it helps with the purity of the spirit. We then move it across into these 2 chambers here, and this is called a doubler. It's a double reflux chamber, quite typical in the Caribbean, and it gives a real fruity flavour to the rum. So it allows the rum to circulate 3 times in the one pass. We actually do this 3 times, so the product itself is really highly distilled. It's probably more distilled than any other rum really would be in the Caribbean. And once we finish with that, we then age it in whiskey casks at the moment we've done it for 6 months, but we also have rum which we've been aging now for over a year and will, hopefully release after it's been aged for 2 years, possibly 3. And once it comes out, we spice it with all natural ingredients. There's no syrups or flavourings. It's cardamom, pink peppercorn. Is
this some of the stuff here, is it?
Yeah, some of it, yeah. Some of it's used in the gin, some of it's used in the rum. Ginger, peel, cassia bark, all those sorts of things. We bottle it and then we sell it and then we drink it.
We drink it and get drunk?
We drink it and get drunk. It's 43% as well, so it's quite strong. A lot of rums, like spiced rums you would find, would be in around the 37.5%, 38% mark. But but this one is 43.
I can smell the fruit straight away. Why
There
it's
you go. Let us know what you think of that. I'll have a go myself.
sure, why not? So the power's out.
Since it's the holidays.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Oh my!
See, you just had your mind blown. This is a Captain Morgan's man right here. He's just having his life.
No buttercream.
Buttercream still.
That I don't have a religious experience yet. That is so good.
It is genuinely, it is good. I mean, and a lot of it comes from the fact that it's distilled so much. There's a balance in that because a lot of people would associate rums with being really vanilla, really, really sugary and sweet.
Yeah.
And I love rum, but I went to Cuba, must be 12, 13 years ago now, and saw good rum for the first time and really tried good rums. And there's a world of difference. So I wanted to try and make a really good rum. And I think we're
I just want to be totally straight to the camera. I am not playing that up. It's just two clubs helping each other out, having a bit of crack. Like, we're not getting no commissions or nothing like that there. This is so good. It is the best rum I've ever tasted.
This is fantastic. And I feel like I can taste the fact that it's been like in a whiskey cask. Is that something that really does come through? It's like,
well, what we wanted to do was to create something that people who appreciate good spirits like to drink. Rum has a bit of a reputation here as being a sort of a Friday night party type thing. It's not really a connoisseur's drink.
I'll have a rum and coke.
Yes, exactly. And for me, it's usually spoiled by being too sweet. Put coke in it, it's too sweet.
Give me a Captain Morgan's and a Fanta because it tastes like a Joker lolly.
Oh no, that's not good. That's not good. No, being too sweet, I wanted to try and produce something that was really, really good that whiskey drinkers would appreciate. But we don't put any vanilla in this.
I can taste the fact there's cinnamon. Is there cinnamon?
There's a little bit of cassia bark,
which
is a cousin of cinnamon. It's pretty similar.
I was like, that's my first thing. I was like, oh, cheers, boy. And it's the first time I haven't had one that's like, oh my god, this is only cinnamon. Fireball and all that kind of stuff. I was like, but this is just like immediately, and then you go away, and then you get the rest of it, and it's a nice balance. It's a nice balance.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now we work hard on it. The rest we took about 2 years to develop, and genuinely, it's made by us here from scratch. We age it in the barrels next door. We distill it in here, and it took a lot of work, and hopefully, people will start to appreciate it.
That's great. That is great. I
am a little bit blown away by it, to be fair.
I am totally. Don't take this as an insult. I was thinking, Carrickmore.
It'll be rough.
It'll be no, it'll not be rough. I'm sure it'll be decent enough, but it'll be decent enough for Carrickmore. This is decent enough. Forget about Carrickmore.
That's 43%, and it's only been aged for 6 months.
Yeah,
so there's no harshness in it whatsoever.
No,
this is so good. This is a challenge. I challenge anybody in Ireland, in the UK, to come up with a better rum than that.
There you go. Let's challenge out there.
That's so good. It's so good. Right, I could go on all day, but we need to move on to the other thing.
Okay. Well, that really the idea was, let's make a rum because no one else was doing it. It's something I really like to make. Going back to going to Havana over a decade ago and just loving rum, thought I'd love to have a go at that with the view of making whiskey as well long term. But also, we experimented and we started messing about with grain and everything else, and we came up with a recipe for our own gin and our own vodka. So our gin is actually, if you ever look at the label,
I'll be straight here before we get going. I'm not a gin man, but
you're not a gin man yet.
Exactly.
Yes, if the gin is as good as that, well then.
Well, maybe you might be surprised here. What don't you like about gin?
It's just the bitterness to it is my biggest thing. Like I can't get past it. And then to me, it's like people are going into bars. I'll have a gin and tonic. I was like, why would you put gin with tonic? They're the same thing.
Double bitter.
It's double bitter. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Give me something to negate the bitter. So that's the bit that gets me. But I haven't really had a proper cocktail or nothing I got there. Kind of just.
I'm making a gin and tonic. We could actually make a surprising gin cocktail if you want. Right. We might need to get some other bits of that, but we can do that in a sec. But the thing about gin is, once you start to get a taste for it, it's difficult to start on. But once you get a taste for it, it's very difficult to get away from that again. That bitterness becomes really quite pleasurable.
Well, there's a thing going on there. I don't know if this is still a craze, but there seemed to be a big gin craze going on down in Belfast and all around, like, you know, people were like, oh, give me a gin and elderflower.
It's popular.
It became like, it kind of changed. I suppose it kind of changed from an old man's drink or an old woman's drink to like a modern or.
Well, that's
drink.
in part, I believe, because people are starting. I mean, the things that people used to drink years ago weren't necessarily bad. Maybe people think they're boring, but that's kind of what we're actually about. Is looking at those old things and saying, actually, old ways people used to make rum before it got commercialised, and people just started throwing syrups and making it really sort of mass commercialised, and gins and vodkas, all these things. The actual spirits are really quite nice. Go back to the old Prohibition days in the 20s, and there was so much experimentation. You know, it wasn't the standard 3 or 4 or 5 different brands that are all selling the same thing. There was a huge variety of different types of gins, different types of flavours, and whiskies. Everything was just so much more choice. So I think we're actually going back to that again, and people are starting to appreciate the differences and things. And you might not like that. You might love the rum. You might not like the vodka, but you may love the whiskey. And it's kind of all about trying to show different spirits, and really, as a distillery, we can produce all these different things, and they're not all for the same person. You know, there are different people will like different things. So,
and what's your the manpower here? Like, how many people do you have working for you?
Just me and one other. That's it. The whole show.
My God, like, I'm just astounded. I'm astounded that this can be done. Just at such a simple operation, like, and you can produce something that's that good. It just shows that it's totally doable.
There's a gin tonic in a big manly glass for you.
You go.
Right.
Our gin is.
I feel like giving it half an hour to all the grapefruit dissolves, but I'm not doing that.
It's not actually, and I've actually given you butter grapefruit as well, which helps.
With the furnace, the grapefruit smells amazing. When you cut it in glass, it goes out. That's fresh grapefruit.
That's pretty nice.
I'll give it a wee slippery slap here, and I'll see what's going on.
Like, a gin's not overly bitter. There's not a huge amount of juniper in there. There is a juniper backbone to it. Again, there's all fresh, all natural ingredients. But the main one in this is a thing called yuzu fruit. And yuzu fruit is like it is actually a cross between a mandarin and a lemon. It sort of happened naturally. I don't know what happened that night, but it's an ugly lemon, but it smells fantastic. Hugely bitter. You don't use the juice, although in places like Japan they do make drinks out of it.
Okay.
It's so good.
But the actual peel itself has a really, really aromatic flavour. So we use that predominantly in that, and it gives it a really nice light citrus flavour. And if you have too much juniper in there, you don't really get that citrus note, you know. So it's.
Because he doesn't like gin either.
That's
surprisingly drinkable.
There's.
Again, it's 42% as well, so it's fairly strong.
Yeah, that's great. That's.
If anything, that's the Schweppes is bringing it down.
Do you know what that is? Do you know what it is? Is that normally when I have gin, the first thing that hits my head, it's kind of like, normally when I get gin, it's like when you get like a really bad coffee. It's just bitter for the sake of being bitter. But that is bitter, but it's bitter in a complex and way that develops and is really easy to drink and really nicely.
Yeah. No, and it is really good. And now, to be honest, we've been doing this now since sort of Christmas, sort of like 6-7 months. And genuinely, we've never had anybody say they don't like the gin. And that's when we're making beer before, you know, you get people who love beer, and you get people say, "Oh, I really don't like that." But with the gin, there's no one has said they don't.
Well, man, if you keep going the way you're going, by, I was like, you'll not have no problems.
No problems at all.
I even need more of that there.
So like gin, when you're making gin, it's a process that I have absolutely no idea about. Like what?
Well, gin is. You start with vodka. Funny enough.
Oh, really?
Sorry to interrupt, but you can taste the layers. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can taste.
Yeah.
Oh boy, you can taste.
But even to get that sort of light flavour, to get that light citrus flavour.
Maybe it's the grapefruit.
No, because we have to. The most similar commercial gin, in terms of the way it's made to the way we make this, would be Bombay Sapphire. So it's quite light, traditional style. But they use a vapour infusion method through a basket, which we use over here on the gin still. But even the way you layer the different botanicals in the basket gives you a different flavour. There's so much work in terms of knowing where your timings are, where the cuts are, where you load, the temperatures, the length of time you macerate some of the botanicals for in the pot. All those things all make a huge difference to the flavour. So it takes an awful lot of time.
We're so childish.
You're such, I just heard him crack when you said that. Sorry.
So yeah, so you start with vodka, and then gin has to have juniper. Doesn't have to anything. It doesn't have to have anything else.
Yeah.
Once you juniper in there, it becomes a gin, but obviously that's not particularly flavourful. Then you experiment with anything else in it you want. So it's unique, light, flavourful, and we think it's damn good.
Man, that's good. It is good.
It is really good.
And I hate gin.
I don't think you hate gin. I think you hate the gin you've had.
Yes.
I think it seems to be the case.
I don't hate this gin.
He's a gin man now.
I'm an ION gin man. Pure gin man.
Well, this is our vodka, which we're not going to mix or anything. We're just going to cool down with a bit of ice. The vodka, a little bit different. So though the base spirit from our gin is wheat, 100% wheat, the vodka is a little bit different. So we've essentially taken this and refined it and changed it a little bit, and we've got 3 different grains in there. So we've got barley, we've got wheat, and we've got rye. And the reason for doing that is we wanted vodka with a little bit of flavour, but I didn't want to be putting flavourings into it. I don't want to put anything else in other than the base material it's made from. So rye, as you're getting rye whiskey and also in types of beer and rye breads and things, gives you a spiciness, a little spiciness. And barley is a little nod to the sort of brewing tradition or the distilling tradition here with whiskey. It gives a little roundness, and the wheat is obviously then the smoothness of the spirit. So all 3 together combine and give you this sort of flavourful vodka. But a huge part of the actual flavour profile is a real earthiness, and that comes from the use of this still. So again, we have a still just made for our vodka. So you see it's taller, it's thinner. We have to run this still a few times to actually get the level of purity that we need for vodka. But if you look in the middle, you'll see a basket. Actually, in that basket, we will there's rocks in there. So when the vapour comes through, those rocks heat up. That's why you see there's like a temperature gauge and things in it. And that the rock actually heats up, and the vapour goes over, and it just gives it a nice sort of earthy flavour. We then filter it down through it.
It's actually funny that you're saying that you're using rocks, because there's a boy, and he's one of the most, I can't remember his name, but he's a real famous wine taster. And he was obsessed with wine even before he was allowed to drink.
Right.
So he would look up the notes on what a wine was supposed to taste like. So he'd say if the wine said it had a citrus taste with an earthy aftertaste, he would sit and he would eat lemon, and then he would suck a rock to see what it tasted like. And then when he got to the age where he could drink, he had developed his palate.
Yeah, well, that's what you have to do.
He developed his palate.
That's quite extreme.
It's extreme, yes, but it's just an story. I thought it was a very interesting story that he actually just he took the literal sense of it is an earthy taste. Well, I'll just suck a rock.
Well, if you think about,
and I was like, and you're using like I just put the 2 together for me there. I was like, oh, wow, that's cool.
When it comes to flavours and things that people like to eat and drink, there is a huge variety of stuff out there to obviously try. But if you actually think about it, in the whole spectrum of the taste, most people are comfortably in the middle. And people don't generally like to push the boundaries, because there's enough stuff that's different but of a similar type of taste that they like, that they don't really have to push things. You know, I tasted olives back 20 years ago, I don't like them, so I don't really taste anything like that. And when you actually keep trying these things, and same with the gin, when you keep trying that little bit of bitter, your taste buds change, your whole attitude towards change, and you start to really like it. That's why people start liking things like olives.
You're going to have to show me your beer someday, because I don't like beer either.
Completely convert you. But this is the vodka. For me, it's best.
Oh, sorry, yeah. The better keep my palate clean.
Just nice and clean with the ice. Again, it's...
Now, tell me something.
Yeah.
A question, and this is a burning question. Vodka is made with potatoes, isn't it?
You can make it with potato. You can really make vodka with anything, to be honest. Any fermentable. But the best vodkas in the world, there's an argument over whether it's potato or whether it's wheat. The Russian vodka would have been would have been potatoes, and the Polish vodka would have been wheat. So it's sort of different in terms of.
And now here was the question that I was wondering, what's the difference in Russian vodka made with potatoes and the Moonlight spring water that gets produced here in somebody's back shed?
That's usually
poaching.
With again, poaching can be made with most things either, but the best poaching would probably be made with wheat, or with barley. That would have been unaged whiskey. Again, you would have malted the barley and would have allegedly
So there's lots of similarities.
Lots of similarities. You can make vodka with anything. Vodka is just agricultural spirit.
But I mean, there's not even between this is so much different.
Yes.
But yet there's a similarity in the development.
Well,
I'll better taste this for
with the vodka, you can really make with anything, but the best spirits will be made with green or potatoes. But you can also make vodka with. There's people making it with whey, which is the byproduct of cheese making.
Can I just say that's like water? Like
that's
pretty
so
good.
too, and that's 40% as well. So, but there's a little bit of flavour in there. You know, it's not.
Yeah, it's not completely.
No, it's just a little bit of flavour.
There's a wee bit of a thing. It's very mild.
You know, and it is best I think just over ice or stick it in the freezer.
Do you want to even mix it?
No, I don't. No, if I'd like to just drink it as its own. I don't drink a lot of it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not one of these ones who put in lemonade and Fanta and all that stuff. I never understood that. Just taste the spirit and enjoy it. Don't drink too much of it. You know, it's sort of for me, drinking vodka and lemonade. It's just about drinking it all night. That's what people want to do. So make the vodka tolerable so you can drink it all night. But that's usually with really rough, horrible vodka. The stuff that you're drinking should be flavourful and should be tasty.
True, yeah.
Drink less and drink better. That's kind of
That's a good slogan.
That's kind of what we're saying.
That's a good slogan.
You know, don't have to go out and get tanked. We're just going to enjoy the drink.
Where's the slogan? Well, you need to put that on the t-shirt. Drink less and drink better.
Drink less, drink better.
You know that's like taking a sip of that started for me before I even took a sip of it. That smelled kind of like caramel to me. Am I imagining that, or is it just kind of?
Well, caramel. I don't know. I mean, everybody knows
sweet, I guess.
Things from it, but the sweetness probably comes from the wheat. To be honest, it's.
I didn't get caramel. I just was like, fuck, that's good. And I'm so much more simple than him. Like he's much more complex. He likes all them craft beers and stuff. And I was like, all I'd say is, "Jeez, that's great." And he'd say, "Oh, but I'm getting all this complexity."
But did you base that? Did you base that vodka off any other like a style of vodka or a type of vodka that you liked, similar to the rum, or was it just?
I wanted to make stuff that was from here. There's no point me trying to make a rum that's the same as Havana.
Yeah, of course.
To make a Barbados rum or a French Guyana. They're all different. They're all different factors. The gin, no one, even I gave someone wrote down the recipe and gave it to them. They couldn't make a gin that tastes exactly the same because depending on the process and depending on your equipment and all those sorts of things.
I must say, I was taking a wee look around, and the first thing that struck me was, geez, this is a clean operation. It's tidy, it's neat. And I was like, you can tell a lot just by sitting and walking in. It's like, if you, it's like anything else. It's like if you walk into a mechanic's shop to get your car done, and there's grease all over the place, there's tools lying about the place, and all that. You walk in and you go, geez, but I don't want to give my car done. But like, you walk in here and it's like, I would not mind drinking anything produced in here because it just looks pristine. So
thank you.
You have a good operation, I have to say.
It's hard to
not that I have any frame of reference, but
operating theatres and things.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we just wanted to make stuff that was ours.
Yes.
It was from here. There's no point me trying to recreate anything.
Give me a fit girl. I it says that in the glass. It's like I second that.
So it's just all about really trying to make the best spirit that we can, and hopefully we're not trying to copy anybody else, but people will maybe look at it and think, well, that's a distinctive rum, a distinctive gin, a distinctive.
Tell you what's distinctive about that gin. It's good.
You're still drinking it.
He's flat out like.
It's just so good.
Would you like one?
What's that?
Would you like one made up?
Aye, sure, why not? Sure, it's a Wednesday, why not?
It's a Wednesday at what?
The sun's shining.
11:30 in the morning?
Aye, it's 11:30 in the morning, by the way.
You're sure it's night time somewhere else?
Exactly. Yeah, and do you reckon, because as like Chris said there a minute ago, like I've been wild into craft beer for like a really, really long time.
Yeah.
Like I was never into like sort of, well, not necessarily normal, but sort of mass-produced lagers and ales and stuff. They're grand and all that. Like
never liked them.
It's fine, but like when you get to the stage where you want something a bit more unique and complex, and the tide does seem to be turning in this country particularly. There's loads of wee breweries popping up and stuff.
There are loads of breweries, but it's a difficult market to operate in, to be honest. There's a huge amount of restrictions. We're the same with the spirits. Like,
restrictions?
A huge amount, like in terms of the licensing laws and the basically, if you have a license to produce alcohol in England and the South and Wales and Scotland, you then can go and sell it, which would seem like a logical thing. Here you can't.
You need a selling license too.
You need a separate license to sell, and if you're like, we're doing this today, and if I was doing this as part of a tour and charging you just by letting you taste it like this, I technically would be breaking the law because you're not allowed to sell alcohol without an off-sales license or an on-site license.
Thank you very much.
According to the law here, which is just crazy.
All right. So you charged us for a tour, and in that tour there was a tasting.
Technically you're breaking the law.
That's crazy.
And if we want to go to events,
we're not being charged. I want to make that record sure we are not being charged.
So if we want to go to a farmer's market or something like that, unless that market has been licensed by a third party, you're not allowed to sell stuff at it. Even big events like the Good Food Show and things.
So you wouldn't, technically then, you wouldn't even be given free tasters?
No, you can give it away. The government doesn't care if you give it away. You can give away stuff all day long, but you can't
oh, right,
sell
okay.
Yeah, it's a
so it's really, really difficult, and it means you always have to deal with sort of third parties. You have to deal with distributors. It's difficult.
I've even found that, like, there's even soft drinks, like, for, you know, it's difficult to get, like, Sidona in a glass bottle. You can't get it in the north. You can get it down south, but you can't order it. Yeah. You have to order a big batch of it. So it's like, it's just so strange. In other places, like I was watching, like, in China they do things like, they make business cards or whatever it was. No, printing. You can print anything you want on anything. They'll do one thing of it, or they'll make a chip for you. They'll do one. If you say, I just want one of them, I was like, that's alright, you just have to pay a wee bit extra, but we'll do one. Here, it's like, oh, one? Go away. What are you talking about? We need 2,000 or something. You know what I mean?
It is difficult. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going into other topics, but there's probably a huge amount of restrictions, I think, to businesses and people starting up, and like with the beer as well. One of the reasons as well that we sort of wanted to shift or move more into spirits was just the access to market. It's really, really difficult. I mean, 80% of the output for breweries in England, for example, would be kegs. But here, there's a very, very limited market for kegs. You know.
And what would you say this is fairly successful? Like,
we're only starting out really. You know, the response has been pretty good. We've been featured in a couple of magazines. We're actually the rum has been well received in terms of it being new and different. But the gin, we've only just started selling it in England. And the very first, with the new distributor, the very first place they went was the Hilton in London. And Bankside, just to show the manager that it was coming. And he tasted it and loved it and said, right, we're taking this into our new menu, and it's going to be gin of the month in October, I think. And really
fair play.
Awesome.
So I know it's a genuinely good product.
Yeah.
I know the rum's really good, and I know the
And
vodka's good.
I can tell, because you know why I can tell? Because your heart's in it. That's the most important thing. So many things are made without heart, and I can tell every one of these, and the way you're talking, the way you've explained it, and all the rest of it, that these are made with genuine heart, and you can taste it when you're drinking it. That's the most thing. Is like you can taste, like, boy, he's put some definite effort into this here. So
thank you. No, that has
so
been
good.
hard work, but it's hard work then going on to sell it. But you know, that's on the onus is on us to do that, to go out and show it to the world. And your blog's obviously going to be seen by millions of people now, so pressure's on you.
Yeah, that's it.
Pressure's on you now.
well, I better stop drinking because I'm already getting a wee bit drunk. So,
You're all right, no worries.
but I tell you what, we're gonna leave it there.
So, well, just before we leave it there, whereabouts can
Oh yeah.
we
Sorry,
and everybody watching get a hold of any
because
of
I
these?
tell you where I found it out. Like Santra was giving away things like, oh, if you like her on Facebook or something, you get a free bottle of.
Yeah, we did a couple of promotions with them. Centra and Super Value has been really good. They've supported us from the very start. They were actually our first customer. So that's any Super Value or Centra shop in the north that's got an off license can, if they don't have it in, can get it in for you. Also Hastings Hotels, all their hotels have it in. The ICE hotels in around Oma, ICE off licenses in Oma. The Vineyard, various different independent off licenses around the place, but we're now hopefully going to be trying to get in as many places as we can. And if there's any pubs or licensed premises that want to try and take it in, our distributors, Drinksology. So
Drinksology.
contact them and get them in.
Well, that's it. And tell you what, if you want to jump on the wee website, we'll have the link in the description. And what would be the retail price on some of this stuff, just so people know?
The rum and gin are in the same price. They're depending on the outlet, but between sort of £32 and £34 roughly, and the vodka £29.99 to £31, something in around that region. You can also get it at the international airport off sales as well. So if you're going on your holidays, you're going out somewhere, you can pick up a bottle there.
Buy it and take it and tell them you need to come to Ireland because we've got the best freaking rum ever. Thanks so much, Darren, for having us down.
No worries.
First official guest in the podcast.
Wow.
Great. And tell you what, we're going to leave it there. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. and we'll see you again.